Hi, welcome back to Final Boss Auto Hub, and excuse me if my voice sounds a little bit funny today or if I'm coughing a little bit. I'm under the weather and I'm trying to nurse myself back to good health. So excuse me if I sound a little bit more funny than usual. So let's get right to it. So word around the street is that Dodge is officially discontinuing their EV Dodge Charger. This is clearly representing a new shift in strategy just months after the vehicle's launch, right? Honestly, this is no surprise to me, especially since Dodge only sold 2,000 vehicles across North America, which is predominantly where their base of people literally buys the vehicle. That's their main market for the most part. Many dealerships had pretty much shifted to a made-to-order model, which would give the constituents the ability to come in and order the vehicle if they really like it and have it shipped directly to them. These dealerships are pretty much citing the source that keeping them in inventory and trying to sell these cars in a struggling market is very tough because of the lack of acceptance for the car. So they rather move to a made-to-order model, which is predominantly happening now. Now, with that being said, right, I hate to be that guy to say I told you so, but I told you so. A couple months ago, I made a video pretty much going into what Dodge is doing in their strategy and said the same thing, like these things were predominantly was going to happen, that this car would, pretty much struggle and that the company will start to struggle. And I'm going to put that video somewhere up here. I don't know which part is going to appear in the video, but I'm going to put the link to that video up here. Just go take a quick look at it. But I basically cited that this was going to happen. I pretty much predicted it. So I can't say I don't know my shit. I know my shit, right? So, just a message to Dodge, like your constituents, once again, only wants loud, fast, and obnoxious cars from your company. That's what your company is built upon. That's what it's known for. They want loud, fast, and obnoxious cars, rear-wheel drive. I mean, I do think you should make an all-wheel drive variant at some point with that V8. But, people want these type of muscle cars, So to pretty much for you to go only to EV options for some of your most popular models, and then don't expect to struggle in this new economy is asinine. You have to expect that you was going to struggle, and it doesn't take someone with a degree in econ to figure that out, that this kind of strategy was going to essentially hurt your company. So with that being said, Dodge does have a new engine called the Hurricane. It's an inline 6-cylinder turbo engine. The company does believe that this engine will be more popular amongst the mass, which I do believe so as well. I do think this engine will be more received amongst the mass, especially that it's supposed to kick out around 450, 460 pounds of torque and horsepower. And it comes in at a lower RPM rate, so which should make the car a lot faster. So I do believe that it will be accepted more on and it would do better than this car, than the EV, especially doing its initial release. I think it would do a lot better. And let's keep it moving. We did also hear that Dodge is making a new V8 for this new body Charger, and I think that's a great idea. The Charger is a looker, it's not an ugly vehicle, and then slapping a V8 to that thing and possibly playing around with it being rear wheel and all-wheel drive, I think that would go over so well amongst the community because people do want to go faster. And one of the major complaints about the Chargers and Scat Packs and Challengers and things back in the day is that it's hard to hook and get the power down to the ground. So, if they go that route, I do think it will be a little bit better. I think Dodge, going more about the Dodge strategy, I think they should take a more reserved strategy when it comes to EV. And I mentioned this in the previous video. They should definitely keep the EV Charger, right? But I think they should not totally discontinue combustible engines, but instead develop technology to preserve it. I said this in the previous video. Do what the German companies are doing. They're building turbo V8s, which are better for emissions, or maybe dabble in the hybrid V8s, which would not only help emissions, but it would definitely help with the speed and engine preservation of the car, or the company, I should say, But jumping to completely discontinue V8s while other companies are still producing them is crazy, especially when your company is known as a muscle car company. That's just dumb, right? The good thing about this is that Dodge recognized this early and they're shifting their strategy very fast, which I think ultimately will get the company back on the right track before it's too late. Dodge, I mean, holla at your boy. I kind of predicted this. I said this months ago. Maybe if you had someone like me, shameless plug, but maybe if you had someone like me in your strategy room, I could have told you this was probably not going to go over well, you know? So, holla at your boy. I got some ideas. Maybe it can help the company. I'm a fan. I had a Challenger. I was doing some wicked stuff in the Challenger. So, I'm a fan. I know about the vehicle. I know about the company. I do love muscle cars. But holla at me. But going back to the video, Dodge, do your thing. I think where you're going with your strategy now makes more sense. And explore the possibility of your engines. After you correct this error, as I said, explore the possibility of turbo V8s, hybrid V8s. Preserve the heritage of your company for as long as you possibly can. The good thing is you built the inline six-cylinder, which produces kick-ass power. You can further develop that too in case if the emission laws start to get more stringent upon what you can build and what you can't build, okay? So that's what I have for you guys today. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Debate me. Debate me if you think that I'm wilding, that saying that Dodge is wilding out for not trying to preserve their heritage by continually building V8s. Or if you feel like the EV charger was a good idea, let me know what you guys think. Final Boss Auto Hub out.